Hey guys, MJ75 here, and today I'm going to show you guys how I have modified the LEGO Star Wars 8039 Venator Attack Cruiser set. So I know it's not the official name, but that's what we have here. It's a Venator, and yeah, so this is my modified version of the set. Before we take a look at this and how to build it, well, I'll take a look at this first, but how to build it will come after. I'm going to show you guys the original Venator, how it came in the set, and then we will take a look at how I went about doing this, and I'll show you how I did it. So yeah, but the first thing that we will take a look at are the features of this newly modified Venator. And I guess we'll start out here in the front, so that's where it makes sense to start out. Flipping this thing up, you might be able to see that there are a bit more coverings here and a bit more pieces just to cover up a lot of the gaps, which is a common thing that I tried to do on a lot of the different areas of this set, was just cover gaps. You can see that I have the original figures from the set in here, and if we are to take a look in here, then we can see that there is a bridge now. So that is one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to add a bridge in here. So now we have a bridge. There are 4 seats on the sort of bottom area, and it's not really that deep because there's not a lot of area to work with in here, unfortunately. I probably could have made it a bit taller, but I wanted to have figures stand up in here as well. So 4 seats, only 1 clone pilot in the set, but you can have more figures in here, or bring your gunner, or even have your Senate commandos in here working on various things. And I also do on this side have the sticker from the old bridge in here that as well. I would put it over here, but again, as I said in a later part of this video, I do not have another one of those. So that's the main thing going on up here. There's another little storage area for a single crate up here, but I've put the one that comes in the set a bit farther back in the build. So that's what's going on up here. You have your bridge, 4 seats, gun rack right back here for 4 blasters, and you kind of have some of that window detailing over here in the front as well. You can kind of see it a bit right in here. There you can see it. You have kind of the slants of the window shape, and I left the guns and stuff out here as well. That's really the main thing going on up here. Closing that back down, we will move back a little bit over to here. Still have the same cannons going on back here, but if we are to open this up, you'll notice that it's a bit different than the original. Opening this up makes this whole thing come out, and this is also on its own hinges so that you can move it up as well. And if you look in here, you can see that I have kept the gun from the set right here. You can still have the gunner shooting at stuff, but I've also opened up this space right here so that you can have troops, and I have also left it so that with a little bit of work you can take this piece out and put the tiles back down and bring your little bombing function back in there. It's going to take a little bit of work to make that work, but you could do it if you want to slightly alter this design of the set that I have redone, and what that would entail is probably opening up that side a little bit as well to allow for the crank to go out. You also do have another small gun rack right here, and if you are to tilt this down and pull out of this section here, unlike the regular set, you can pull out the guns and stuff that I've put in here as well to, get better access to them. Maybe you want to take your clone gunner out, but you can't reach inside there. Now you have a bit better access, and I've also left the flick fire missiles on there as well so that you have that extra play feature. And that's really for that side. And if we go down to the other side, I've left the carry handle in here as well. As you can see right here, the carry handle still is in there and functions. If we were to go to the other side of the set, then we can see once again it's pretty much the same design on the outside. Again, you can modify it a little bit by removing this bottom piece here, which isn't actually a lot of work, to allow it to have the bombing function still be in there, which is something that I will probably look at doing. And if we are to take a look at inside of here, some stuff just fell. I don't know what happened, but some of the pieces kind of just fell off of here, which is kind of strange, but oh well, they're back on now. Closing this, opening it, they're fine. So if we were to look here, this is another thing. You can pull stuff out of this side as well. Another access to the troop area, and you also do have this single bed with a gun holder as well as a helmet holder, and this is just kind of a little place for a clone to sleep or someone else to sleep. So you can have kind of barracks in here, which I was going to put in here, but I wanted to have some troop space, so I put it on this rail as well. And you can definitely pull this out, move it to the other side, and pull the gun through to have it be on this side. Or I'm sure that if you really wanted to, you could probably just build another gun to go on both sides, but there you go. That's what that is. You can just have the gun come out and then just have it come back, and that's really what that main thing does. I also added a few more of the sort of rail bricks, or the bricks with the slots in them, so you can have that be held in a bit better. And closing this back up, if you close this too much, it will just go down regularly like that. So pretty nice. Moving to the back here, kind of the last area of the set, you can see that it's a little bit tighter than it was before. It doesn't have these pieces coming out a bunch, which was kind of annoying. And you can also see just by looking at the back area of the engines, and you can see some stuff that I have over there in the background, but oh well. You can see that this is a lot more covered up from the set as well. So there you go, pretty covered. That was one of the things I wanted, because there's a lot of open space back there, so I did what I could to cover up the back portion there. And also right back here we have a few more features. Pulling this back still does give you access to the escape pod, which I didn't really make any changes to because I didn't feel it was necessary. I kind of like this little escape pod. That slides back in there still, but if you are to open up this thing right here, then you can tell that there is a little bit of storage in there, and that's easier if you move this whole thing out, so that there's a little storage space right in here now for a crate or whatever. That's where I've taken the crate from the set and just put it there. And now this is where Palpatine or someone else can reside, right in here. You just have this little area here, and he has the Death Star plans right there. So he can still be in the set, or you can have some other Jedi figure, maybe a clone commander or somebody up there. But the whole thing is no longer dedicated to Palpatine, which is the main thing that I wanted to tackle with this modification of the set. But other than that, those are the changes that I have made. So now we'll take a look at what the other set actually looked like, so that we can see how it was and what that actually looked like from the original perspective. Alright, so before I show how I modified the set and show you how to do it, let's take a look at the set as it is when you build the set. So this is how it is in the instructions. If you are to build the set, this is what you will end up with. So let's start out taking a look at this. We'll start out here at the back, because I think that the back is actually on this set the place where it makes the most sense to start. So if we take a look at the back here, you can see that these pieces are quite visible here, and they jut out just a little bit, which is something that I want to fix and have fixed when I show you how to do this. But pulling this piece down right here will give you access to an escape pod, which has room for one figure, so pretty neat right there that they allow you to have that. But these pieces just kind of bounce around, and they're not really held in very well. And there's this piece, which also can be angled upwards, and then that closes in. This closes in on top and gives the impression of a mostly closed in area. But if you pull back on this whole piece here and pull up a little bit, then you will gain access to this thing right here, which is more or less the piloting area or the bridge of this vehicle in this set. Not really a lot going on here. You kind of just have your clone pilot and this stickered console piece, which is a very nice sticker, but really not a whole lot of bridge, when the bridge is really one of the most seen places of this vehicle in the Clone Wars and other media, which the bridges are right on top of these struts here, and I just knocked out that piece right there. But luckily for me, I can pick it up and put it back in, so pretty neat. That does come out sometimes, but that's not really a big issue. So up here you have the bridges, which I was talking about. So now we'll take a look at the sides in this sort of portion of this vehicle, and I will start out on this side. There's a few things on this side that I will also touch on, but we'll do a lot of the major stuff right here. So this whole thing can be lifted up like this. It is on hinges. As you can see, there's a bit of gaps in there with some Technic stuff exposed. And there are also these cannons on here which can be twirled around and angled. There are 4 on each side, kind of just like this. All of them can rotate and be angled and all that fun stuff. I like to just angle them kind of forward and outwards like so, but you can angle them any way you want to. And then if we go inside of here, you can see that there are a few different things here that we can take a look at. Right here you can pull out this cannon and shoot that around, and that's where you have your clone gunner in this set. He's just kind of hanging out in there. You also do have some flick fire missiles up there, and this piece right here, which really just helps to keep this in and looks quite good. Though if you bend this down, you can pull it forward and rotate it so you can send it over to the other side and have the cannon go out the other side, because there's not really enough room to fully rotate it like so. If you pull it all the way out, then you can clear this and then send it back through to the other side. And that's really all that's for, though. This brick will stop you from pulling it out, so that's what that piece does there. Then also right here, there is this bombing thing right here, and I will quickly pull this out just to show you guys what this is. So this is how it is. There's a little hole in the middle that you can see there, which is where the bottom of this contraption comes out, which is right there. And if you are to turn this knob, which comes out of the other side, then it will just drop a bomb down like so, and it comes with quite a few of those bombs that you can do that quite a few times. And that's really all there is about that. So that's really all there is for this side. You might also notice right up here that if I am to move the camera, you have the carry handle. This you can just move out forward like this and then pick up the whole set right here. It's a pretty nice place to carry the set. And there you go. So this is the other side right about here. And if you look, it's pretty much the same on this side. There's just more space for you to pull the cannon out the other way. All of this stuff pretty much just works exactly the same. You can have your cannon shoot out this side as well. And I'll just send him right back in where he was. And also you do have the bombing thing, which is also removable. But on this side you have the little axle exposed that will help you to drop those bombs in. So really that's all there is for this main back section here. So I guess the next place where it makes sense to move on to is this section right here, more towards the front. Just looking at the sides here, the only real feature you have is this moving up and down cannon, which is on both sides. I do like that feature, I think it's quite neat. But now we'll go on to the inside of this build, and the whole real top just lifts off and you can get quite a good view of what is in there. So there it is. You can see here that there's a little storage area for a crate, which can be removed, and in there are the Death Star plans right here in this box, which came with the set. So pretty cool to get the Death Star plans, and I actually like the Death Star plans piece in print quite a lot. But the main real feature back here, if it doesn't drop on me, is that you have Chancellor Palpatine in his chair, which can rotate, and some Senate commandos. So yeah, this is a really weird angle to film at, but there you go. You can kind of see that Chancellor Palpatine's chair can rotate around. You can kind of see that from there. That's really the only feature that you have. You just kind of have a room for Palpatine to hang out in and do whatever he needs to do. So that's really it for all of the features of this set in its stock instruction form. It's not bad at all, but there are definitely a few things that I want to do to it, which you will see, which you've seen a bit already, and then I'll show you how to do in a second. So that is really all that there is to this set. Not quite that many features, but I do like the ones I have. I definitely like how flush this carry handle is and stuff like that, but definitely I think it could use some improvement in a few areas. And the main areas that I wanted to improve upon getting this set is mainly a lot of the gaps, because you can probably tell that there are quite a few gaps in this set, whether it be right here with the Technic bricks right in here with all of the plates. There's some stuff up here, you know, stuff like this. Just a lot of gaps everywhere in these two pieces in the back right here, and really just open this up and make it more of a clone vehicle meant for transporting and commanding clones, as it is in the Clone Wars and episodes of Star Wars. So those were really my goals with this. I've shown you guys how that ended up and what I did, but now for those of you who are interested, I'm going to show you guys how to do this mod. I just request that if you do end up doing this to your very own Venator and end up using it in a YouTube video or something, that you just give me credit for the mods that I have done in this mod guide. So that's really all that I ask. Outside of that, if you have the pieces, I think that this mod is really cool and I would definitely recommend doing it. So without further ado, let's get into the tutorial, and we'll start out with this back section right here. As I've split the build into 3 main sections of modification, being the back sort of middle section here, these side sections here, and then this whole front section right here. So those are the 3 sections that we'll do the build in, and we will start out with this back portion way back here. Alright, so starting out with the back section and kind of the middle back section, because that's really all that this little part's going to do. This is the smallest of the 3 modification parts, and as you can see, I've assembled some of the pieces into small groups, and this is something that I've also done with some of the other 2 sections parts, and I will just be holding up these pieces to the camera, go build all the things that I have built on here already. I think that a lot of them are pretty self-explanatory, like this piece here and this piece, more or less. It's pretty self-explanatory what I've done here, but go pause the video at any time. Feel free to pause the video if you're doing this. Build all the stuff that I have on screen. Go get all the pieces that I have on screen right now, and then come back once you've done that. And now we will be modifying the middle of the back section of the Venator. Alright, so now that we have all the pieces that we will need to modify this back section as to what I have done, we will start out with the back portion here. I'm going to start by removing the mini bridge thing from the set, and it's easier to do that if you move the carry handle forward just to kind of get this out. Set this off to the side for right now. There are a few small changes that we will be doing to this thing, but right now I'm going to focus on the rest of the build. So just set this off to the side. We'll take a look at this in a minute, but first we will take a look at what is going on back here. Pull down the back gate and pull out your escape pod. I didn't do any changes to the escape pod, so I'm just going to place it off to the side. And you can see it on here on your set, if you're doing this, is that you have pieces here and here with the sort of slider plates. This one has another circular plate extending outwards, and this one doesn't have anything. And these are on both sides of the build right here. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take off both of these pieces on both sides, with the ones in the front and the ones in the back. I'm just trying to do it without ripping off a bunch of other pieces, because that's not very fun for doing this, just ripping off a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it helps to have a brick separator with some of these, especially if you don't have particularly long fingernails. I don't really either. I just dropped a piece in there, but some of these pieces I can get out, and some of them I'll be using a brick separator for, and I just dropped a piece in there, so I'm going to try to get it out. There we go, and that just goes right back there, like so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly rotate this. You're going to take this piece which you assembled earlier in the assembly section, and you're going to want this part with this black piece on here towards the back, and this piece with the 2 red 1x1 tiles, transparent tiles that is, towards the front. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece, and then you're going to just lock it in on both sides with both of the bricks with studs on the sides, so that it does this thing right here. So now you have a little storage compartment back here as per what I had shown earlier. At this point you can take your escape pod and place it back in, and the reason why this is not a full brick is so that this piece can stick out just a little bit right there. You can close this up now. We are done with this little section here. So now that we have done that, we're going to take a look at this section here. So quickly just remove your clone just so that he doesn't get mixed up in anything. And we will now start this section of the modification. So first thing that I'm going to do is, starting up here at the front, I'm going to also be taking out this tile with the sticker on it. We're going to be using this piece later, so don't lose it, but you can set it off to the side. And you're going to take the 1x4 light gray brick, set that down there. You're also going to take this jumper plate, which I just dropped. Good job, but anyway, you're going to take this jumper plate right here and set that down right in the middle there, and you're also going to take both of these 2 assemblies right here and set them on either side, so that you have this little section right here, and it looks like this. So once you've done that, you can go from the front, take your Palpatine figure, and you can just sit him down right in here, so that he still has somewhere to go in the set, just like this. And you can go take his crate from the crate storage area, and then open that up, or leave it closed, but you can take the Death Star plans and put them right on here, like so. So now he can look at his Death Star plans in private, And then you can just take this closed up crate and just put it in the storage compartment area right here, because we'll be doing something different with that section where it was previously. So it's just one less thing you need to take out. So the next thing we're going to do is move a bit towards the back. You can see that there's a brick right here, and we're just going to remove this piece, as I find it a bit harder to get the piece in and out of the ship like this. And then you're also going to take off this whole top part, and hopefully you don't drop as many pieces as I am, but I'm not doing this over a table, so it's much easier to do this over a table if you can. Set that off to the side, and then take out this back piece right here, and just set this whole thing off to the side as well. So now what we're going to be doing with this is take off the two hinges. This might result in some pieces coming off on the hinges, and just put them back on the set where they were. Set these pieces off to the side as well. So now you're left with just this, and you're going to take this massive assembly right here, and you're just going to put it so that it kind of goes back into place where the other hinges were, and just press that down on here like so, so that you have these loose hinges right here, and the other ones are hidden in by studs. And you're going to take the 1x4 light gray plate and just place it right here on the back of that as well. And now you're going to take this piece back and just put the new hinges back where the old hinges were, and reassemble it. So once you've done that, this whole thing is reassembled. You can now just take that back and put it right back in here where it went before, and you'll notice that it goes in quite a lot easier, and also this whole thing closes up and is a lot more flush. So now if you want access to this, you can open this piece up a little bit, and you can get your fingers in there to get the crate or anything else that you decide to put back here. So that is it for the back middle section of this build. So now I'm going to show you guys the pieces that we're going to need to modify the back side sections of this set. Alright, so here are all of the pieces that you will need to modify the side sections. There are pieces here shown for both sides, so I will only be showing one side in the video, but just mirror everything I do on both sides because that's how I have it set up. So now I'll just be showing off the different small builds, and then we will get into what I've done here. A lot of these are just mirrored, so I'm only going to be showing one of the two sides of each one, because again, it's just going to save a lot of time on this video as it is. And saving time is cool because it saves me time and it saves you time, so I'm all for saving time. But this is really all that I'm going to be doing for the rest of this section. Again, feel free to pause the video anytime, build what I have built here, and then proceed to the application of these pieces when you are ready, if you decide to do this for yourself. And I know that a lot of the pieces are covered by other pieces in this shot, but you'll be seeing them all when I build them and attach them to the build. So don't get too upset or concerned about that. You'll be seeing all of these pieces when I apply them to the model in a bit more detail. So now that we have pretty much shown all of these pieces, this being the last one, like so, now that you guys have seen all the pieces, pause the video if you're doing this. Make sure you have all of these pieces and build everything that I have shown here. And once you're done with that, unpause the video, and now I will be applying these pieces to the model. Alright, so now it is time to apply all of those pieces to this section of the model. Once again, I'd like to state that I'm only going to be showing this side of the build in the model, but do this to both sides of the set to finish the mod. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to take this huge piece here and temporarily remove it from the model. And there are a few things that I'm going to do to this. Firstly, just taking a look at this whole thing here. We're going to look down here. You can see this plate right here. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pry up this piece like so, so that you have access to that plate and can remove it. Once you have removed it, just flip it around so that it goes vertically upwards instead of horizontally, and then push everything back down like this so that it looks like this once you're done with it. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take one of these pieces here, and you're going to want to place it right here on top of the model like so. And then also we're going to want to do some stuff here, but for now I'm going to put this off to the side and we will focus on the rest of the space here. So next thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to push this piece down like so, and I'm going to remove this 1x4 dark gray brick, set this off to the side, and replace it with a 1x3 brick in the same color. and then pull this whole thing out here. So this is the gun that comes with the set, and I'm going to be making 2 small changes to it, one of which is just because of the color of pieces I have. If you have a lot of these in black, you don't need to make the change I'm about to make, but I'm going to be removing these 2 pieces and replacing them with dark gray versions of them, because that's just what I have in my collection, and that's what I'm going to be using on the other piece that can go in here. So that's what I've done. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the whole cannon portion from this, and I'm going to remove the bottom plate from it like so, and then just remove the top plate, put the top plate on the bottom plate, and then just press the whole thing together so that it all comes back down, and reattach it to the base. And then before I put this all back in, I'm going to take the next 2 pieces that go on this track as well. But an important thing to do before that, before I place these all in, you're going to take these 2 pieces and assemble them together. You could put this in from the other side, but because I'm not going to be showing the other side, I'm not going to be doing that. And then you're going to want to take all of these 1x4 sort of bricks with the groove in them for the track, and what you're going to want to do with these is remove the tiles from all of the different areas, and I'm also going to have to access this side to do that. So it might just be easier to do this when you're accessing the other side, but because I'm only showing one side in this video, I have to do this like this. So just take all the tiles off and just put them down for the moment. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to move all of these pieces out like so. Just take all of these and move them back or forward, whichever one you decide, so that it kind of goes down like this. And you're going to also want to take the tiles off of those. And then you're going to want to set the other pieces like so right here. And you actually only need 2 of these, so that's kind of a mistake on my part for the build of this. You can use these structurally or somewhere else, but you don't need them, so we'll set them back off to the side. Sorry about that. I miscalculated the amount of pieces I would need, but it's fine. It's not like we have a shortage of pieces or anything. So then I'm just going to place all of the tiles back over this, and this will just help with having these attachments glide along just that much easier. Alright, so now that we have fix the track up, I'm just going to take this, which is actually a little resting bed as I showed earlier, and I'm just going to slide this down so that it's on the other side of this build like so. And now that that's just over there, I'm going to take this build and just put this right back in as well. So that's really it for the track. Now we're going to work on the stuff right here. So we're going to take this large build right here, the one for this side that kind of looks like this, and place that right on down there. And we're also going to take one of these pieces right here, the one that looks like this, and we're going to attach it to the Technic bricks that make up the thruster wall and the Technic brick that is right there. And then also, to really help these gaps right here, I'm going to take 2 of these 1x3 dark gray plates and put one on the red hinges where there is not anything, and place the other one right next to the dark gray 1x3 on top of the 2x3 light gray plate like so, and then just push that all up like that. So now if you want to, you can easily move this piece out like that, and you also have it look nice and flush in the back. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking one of these pieces right here and one of these pieces, which I am going to grab right now, one of these, and we're going to take this piece and place it right next to the cheese slope, and we're going to take this piece and place this right next to the cheese, right next to the piece next to the cheese slope, so that it looks kind of like this. And then I'm going to quickly rotate all of this stuff so that you can see right back here with, you've got the thrusters right here, they're all there, and you're going to need some of the other pieces. To take one of these pieces right here, and you're going to place it so that the middle is right behind here like so. Just press that on, and that fits quite nicely. And then you're also going to take one of these pieces for this side and push that on right here so that it lines up like that, with the cheese slope just being the edge right there. And then now we're going to move back over to here and do a bit of other stuff here on the ground as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the bombing rig. I'm going to leave the bombing rig as a separate attachment thing and I will probably leave these tiles not necessarily in the build, but I will leave them as part of what I have for this build. So what you're going to want to do with this is you're going to want to rip off this piece like this, just so that you have this. Set the whole bombing rig off to the side. You can either leave it and switch it out with the sort of troop transport area, which is something you could do. And if you really wanted to, you could probably just do something like that, which is something I might actually end up doing, because I think that that's actually might be a good idea, and it wasn't something that I considered when I built this mod originally. But you know, you could do that. I'm just going to remove the tiles for this section, and this is one of the places where it kind of helps have a brick separator, because it's a bit challenging to kind of get into there with all of the Technic stuff and other pieces. So if you need to, feel free to move some pieces out of the way. Try to get a brick separator in there to get that tile off. Either way, it's not a very easy piece to get out, but if you are to lift up the set, then you can reach in from the bottom and try to get it out as well, which, you know, is a good idea, but doesn't work the best. There's one of them, and I don't know. Okay, the other one's coming off really easy, but if you wanted to, you could just leave those pieces on there so that you can switch out the bomber function as well. But I'm just going to take them off and put this piece in here. There we go. That was great. That just fell on the ground. But if I'm to grab that piece once again, then all that I need to do with that is just put this right down in the middle there where the bombing hole is. And again, if you want to reinstall the bomber, you can. So I'd save those pieces and put them off to the side as well. But the next thing that we really need to do is some tile work here, as well as some other piece work. So I'm going to take one of these 2x2 plates and just put it down right here to fill in that gap. I'm also going to take one of these angular plates and stick that right there as well to fill in that gap. And really the next thing that I'm going to do is remove these tiles right here and just set them off to the side so that I can do other stuff with them later if I want to. I don't think I'm going to end up reusing those anywhere in the build, but that's not important. So the next piece that I'm going to grab are a few tiles. We've got this tile, we've got 1x2, 1x8, 1x3, and a corner tile in light gray. All of those pieces are going to be needed. You're going to take the corner tile, place that, I believe, right here. It works a little bit better if we have this back on, so I'm also going to place this back in for a little bit of sighting. I think that's where we want that piece to be, but I could be wrong. We're also going to take this piece and place that in right there, and we're also going to take this piece, place that down right there, and yeah, that's not where we want it to be. Move that back, move this back. There we go. This is kind of a trial and error thing. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing for sure, but kind of just screwed that step up. And then just place it just like this, so that this is how your tiles look like so. And this is going to kind of be the border of where the interior and exterior pieces go. And if I'm to move this down, you can kind of see vaguely that's where it is. But once again, I'm going to be removing this piece because we have some pieces to apply to it as well. Just looking up here, you can see that there's this whole section right here. And what I'm going to be doing with that is I'm going to be taking two of these 1x8 sort of pieces with the rails on them, sticking two of them towards the back like so. And then I'm also going to take two of the 1x2 versions of this piece and stick them right here towards the front as well, like this. So, yay, I dropped another one on the ground, and I don't know where it went. Yay, this video is going so well. Very exciting. But there you go. Now that you have done that, there's a few things that we need to do to this piece as well. First of which, remove this and move it down one plate like that. And then you're going to want to take one of these pieces in the 1x6 plate in light gray and place that down right there as well. And then you're going to want to take this assembly right here. We will be doing stuff with this. But first, go around to the back here, and you're going to want to pull this whole thing out like so. And then just set this piece again off to the side. We will reattach it later. But taking a look at this piece, you're going to want to remove this piece and this piece as well. This piece will fall down for a second, but that is okay. And then you're going to want to take this piece like so, and then just remove this piece temporarily and apply it like this. And hopefully your stuff won't fall all over the floor like mine has. But once you do that, it will look something like this. You can replace this piece on the front, and then once again take this piece and place it right here, and then take this piece, reapply it. And you're also going to want one of these, and you're just going to put that right there so that this piece looks something like this. And now you're going to want to take that and reapply it in the same way that it was back to the wing so that it looks like this. Reconnect this to the rest of the ship. It will be the next thing to do. But before we do that, take another one of these 1x8 tiles and place it like this right here over these two studs, just to make the set look just a little bit nicer. And then we'll just press this back into place as well, just like that. There are a few more things that we will need to do, but I will do those. Now that we've done this, you can kind of see where all the line that I was drawing with the tiles was going. And now we're going to work with this piece here that we removed a bit earlier. So first thing you're going to want to do with this, remove these two pieces from the sides. That's going to make the whole thing kind of split apart, but that is indeed the point. And then you're going to want to take two of these 4x6 plates, and you're going to want to apply them to each side like so, just to get this basic shape. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is come to the back here, and you're just going to want to take out this piece right here at the top, and you're also going to want to take all the tiles off of these pieces as well, which sometimes can be more easily done by removing the plates, but that's not important. Take another one of these pieces right here, and you're just going to want to put that right on like this. Oh, and I just realized I used the wrong piece here, so we will quickly fix that. It's like, wait, why are there only two of those? So you're going to want to replace this with this piece. I know, not the most professional video ever, but gets the job done. And there you go, so that piece looks like that, with the gray, with dark gray coming all the way down like that. And now you're going to come back to this piece, place these tiles back, and you're going to want to remove the tile from this piece as well and place it on here. Take these pieces once again and put them right back on over, just like that. And now you're going to want to take these hinges right here. We'll see which one we need. I think it's actually going to be this one right here. You're going to want to take one of these pieces and just put it on there. And you're also going to want one of these 2x2 plates to go right on here, kind of like that. And hold on, give me a second. We need to, hopefully this will work out, but we need to apply this piece right here and bend this so that it kind of comes down like that. And then you're going to want to take this piece so that it comes in a bit like that. Actually, I'm thinking that this went over. Oh well. This is why I don't do how to build videos for Bionicle from memory anymore, because that would just never work for me, and that's why this video is getting kind of annoying to film, but it's fine. We'll figure it all out. It will go okay. So, putting this thing back in there, I'm going to, for temporary, remove that so that it goes like this, and then you can have this piece hanging down here, which will have this piece connected to it, kind of like that. And then to do that, we'll place this piece right on the back there so that it kind of looks something like this. And then we'll put this back on. Yeah, I'm not thinking that's how that was. Yeah, this is not going so well. I'm trying to remove this piece, but it's just not working. Okay, so, alright, we need to take this piece and get it so that when it hangs down, it's something like this. And to do that, I'm going to take this piece and put it right about there. If we flip this around, it will go right about here. And then we will take this piece and just put it on there. And I might change that, but for now, that's how it is. It looks a little something like that, so that is how I wanted it to look, so I think I did it right. Yay for me, I can remember how to do stuff. But what this will allow me to do is just rotate this piece up out of the way like that so that we can get to our next big thing. And right here is the next thing we're going to want to look at, is this plate right down in there. You guys can see that. I'm going to move the camera. There you go. And I'm just going to move this up temporarily like this so that we can gain access to this piece. And what I'm going to want to do is remove this right now so that it's just this, and take this piece off the bottom and this piece off the side, rotate it like this, take one of the 1x3 light gray plates, put that right on there, put this piece right on the bottom, and take one of these 1x8 light dark gray plates and place that in the middle like this. Then now you have this assembly right here, and then place that back on like that. And then the next thing you're going to want is you're going to want one of these assemblies right here, this one in particular, that looks like this with the rocker plates on the bottom, and you're going to want to place this so that the one stud left over from the 7 studs is left at the top like so. Make sure that attaches quite well. So there's your leftover stud right there, and then you're going to want to angle this so that this piece will rest on that when it comes back. And I think that we'll actually move this back one like this, so make sure that it's on the backmost stud that you can get it to be on. Oh my goodness, this will be very interesting to put on. Come on, get on. Alright, there we go. So you want this piece to be right there on the backmost stud. You can close this piece once again, and then once you've done that right there, this can move like this, and then it will close on top of that like so. So I think that is actually it for this section, besides the last small thing, which is just one of these pieces. You're going to want to take this, lift it back up, and just kind of shimmy this right under there and place it like so. So that is the last main thing on this side. I'm just taking a look at the leftover pieces. You should have enough pieces left over to do this to the other side. So that's all I'm going to show on the video. I'm going to very quickly do this to the other side of this set, and then we'll move on to the front section and all of its modifications. Alright, so here are all the parts that we will need to do the front modifications. So here are the different small builds that you will need to complete in order to do this. So I'm just going to show those. Once again, a lot of stuff is mirrored or the same, so I'll just be showing one of those in this build section. But just build all the stuff here, and then we can continue on with the modification guide. There's quite a lot of assembled stuff in this one. I think this one might actually have the most assembled stuff. And you're also going to need a few pieces that we took out of the middle of the back section to complete this part of the mod guide. Mainly just the control panel that we took out, but that's really all that we will be needing to finish that part of the guide itself. So I'm just going to finish showing off all of these different parts, and then we will get on with the build. Again, feel free to pause the video, go gather all of these pieces and build all of these parts, and then we will continue on with applying them into the build itself. So that's really all that's going on here. A lot of these are also just plates with pins sticking out of the back of them. As you can probably tell, we're using quite a few of those on the build. And yeah, so go build all of these things and then come back and we will start with the main hard stuff, because there's actually something that's kind of challenging to apply in here. So pause the video, go build all these things, go gather all these pieces, and now I will be applying them to the build. Alright, so now we'll be doing the modifications for the front section of the build, and to start this off I'm going to start by opening up this section here where you can see that we have some stuff still left in here. But before we do anything with that, I'm going to tilt these back pieces to the sides, and you will notice on your model 2 red pins that attach this to the rest of the build, and I'm going to quickly just pull these pieces out just so that we can get this piece off of the build, and then we will get on to applying some pieces. So once this gets off, which you can take off very easily, it's just a bit challenging for some reason right now. There we go. So now that this is off, set this off to the side so that we can do some application in here. And this is where stuff's going to get kind of tricky. I'm going to go to these back sections and take off both sides of these wings, even though I know we just put them on. But just to make this next part a little bit easier, I'm just going to take these off and put them to the side so that we have a bit more room to work with, as this is kind of a back mod. But also removing these pieces right here, so that we should be able to stretch this out like so. and then I'm just going to push out this piece that's right in here. I'm just going to take that and remove it from the rest of the build. Just drop all that stuff out. Brick separator, you know, just whatever. Get all these pieces off of here to some degree of success. You know, maybe we'll just try one of these. There we go. That seems to have worked. And once you've taken these pieces out, you can set them off to the side because we won't be using them again. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take, well, let's see if I can find it, this piece right here, and you're going to put that back in where that other piece was. So just kind of shimmy it down in there, stick it on, and stick the tile back on, because tile falls off kind of easily from just trying to put it on. But stick that back on, push those pieces back in, make sure that all of this stuff gets reattached as it might have come undone, as I can see on my model. Just make sure all of this stuff gets back into place because we want all of this to be secure for the rest of the build. You can also remove some of these pieces to make sure that everything gets pushed back into place. Make sure the whole model sort of middle is secure, and then we will continue on with the build just by putting all the stuff that I just took off back, except for the top piece. This will slide back through. I can find where it needs to go. Oh no, this is not going too well. Right about there, that's looking good. There we go. This whole thing will just go right back on there. And it's looking like everything's lining up nice and good. So this is all back and secured. And now we have this little piece right here that kind of goes over and covers up a little bit of the extra stuff. It doesn't impact the path of the carry handle or anything. It doesn't really impact the rotation of the top piece other than making it just stand straight up when it's done rotating, which isn't a big problem. But now, speaking of this top piece, we will take a look at the inside of this. And there are a few small things that we're going to add on here. It helps though to take off these side pieces, so just take those off and set them to the side so that we have just the middle skeleton of this whole assembly left, like so. This is the main piece. And what we're going to do on here is we're going to, on each side, take these pieces here and place them on like this so that there are these tiles coming out on each side. And then once you've done that, we're going to take these pieces and do the same thing with the transfer from the beams to the plates, which fortunately is not working super well. For some reason that just doesn't fit on the best, so we will just not do that. I did that before, but I guess it just didn't work super well. So we'll just have it like that. That's totally fine. You don't need either of those two things. Sorry about that. But if you were getting your hopes up about using those, we don't need them. We'll just leave them off to the side. Then you're going to take the remaining 4 of these and you're just going to place those right down there. Again, I just dropped a bunch of stuff, but you're just going to take all these and apply them right down the middle. You're not going to apply the ones on the end or the ones on the other top part here, but you're going to apply them on all of the middle sections like so. And I dropped one. And then the last one. And then the last one just goes on like that. Just like all the other ones. There you go. Pretty simple there. Just all those pieces applied. And now you can take these pieces and put them back on. Just like this. I'm going to leave these off to the side while we work on the other parts of the build. And there are a few small things that we still need to do to this, like placing some plates in there. It helps if you bend these back a little bit just to see what's in there, but I know I just hit the camera. I'm sorry about that, but doesn't really work super well with these pieces in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the brick separator, because that's really nice and easy, and we're just going to go in here up on the sides and pull up all the side tiles and stuff on each of these areas, like so. And what we're going to do with all of these is we're just going to take some plates. We're going to take some of these 1x4s for these plates right here, just move those, and then put these right in there like so, and then you can just put the plate back on over. And then for the large open spaces, we're going to take 1x6 plates right there, put those in, and then just put these back on there as well. Let's do that for all of the different areas. Just remove it, put the plate in, put the tile back on top of it. And that's just going to give this a bit more security and make it a bit more rigid, and hopefully make the tiles live a little longer, because they don't like to live on a space where everything's just going to crumble and fall apart, because that wouldn't be very good. So yeah, just putting all those on will hopefully make this all work a little bit better. I'm just struggling with one of these. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so that one's in. And then I just have 2 more, so I think actually 3 more. Let's do the rest of these real quick. Again, just take the piece out, put the appropriate plate size for the gap in there, and then just put the piece back on, and it works quite nicely. And just got 2 more to do, the last 2 on the end, and then we'll be done with this top part. Again, take the pieces, put the plates in, and then put the pieces back on. So now that we have done this, it will be a lot more stable up here, as we don't have giant gaps for all these pieces to flex into. So pretty good. Now we are done with this whole section, so I'm going to leave this off to the side while we work on the interior space, but you can put it back on if you want to. So now we're going to do the second, probably one of the second hardest things to apply here. But first, take all the figures out of here, take the desk out, take the chair out, you know, all of Palpatine's stuff. And I guess you could reuse this piece, so you don't really need another one of these plates as well, but you know, whatever. So now that we have taken all the stuff out of there, I'm going to also take these tiles off with the statues and that piece off as well. So now we have access to the inside of this portion of the ship right here. I'm just going to tilt this so you guys can hopefully see what I'm doing a bit better. But if you guys have this set, then you might be able to tell right here there are some golden studs on some axles, and you're going to want to pull out the thing that they are attached to in the back here, which held the crate. Just pull this thing off, set that to the side, and then you're just going to want to push the axles out of the front like so, and then set those off to the side as well. Before we do that, I'm going to take one of them and use it to press out these lever pieces right here. And what we're going to do with those is we're going to reapply them in the front, just like this. And I'm also going to take the time to press out 2 of these pins on the top as well. So there we go. So now all these pieces can be set off to the side. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is, and actually something that's really annoying to apply, but this piece right here with the axles that kind of float freely. What we're going to want to do with that is I'm going to temporarily take off the back stuff so that this axle is loose and free floating, and then you're going to want to stick that down right here in the front, and you're just going to want to push in on the axles with the bushings so that they go into the levers, which is actually something that you might actually just want to push them in first and then put the lever pieces on afterwards. Just however you choose to do it, just get those pieces in, and then once you have done that, this should be secure. You can slip these pieces, this piece back on and this piece back on over it. And once you're done with that, it should look a little something like this in there, so that you have this piece is kind of just free floating right now. We'll take care of that in a second by taking this assembly right here and just placing that over top of this whole thing right there. This is also some storage space for the crate as well. but you know, it's just a little bit more storage, and I didn't really know what else to do. So it should look like this now. Yeah, it should look a little something like that. And that's probably the hardest thing to apply in this section of the video, besides this piece back here. But now that we have applied those, it should be pretty simple from here on out. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a bunch of the loose plates that we have, and I'm going to be applying those. So if we come down here in the front, you can see that there's this piece. I'm just going to do it on this side for the easy to see part, but do this to both sides. You're going to take the corner plates in dark gray and just place them right around this piece right here, and it looks like this. There you go, you can see it there. And then you're also going to want to take one of these pieces, push this way back in the back, and apply that there as well. Get it nice and in there. It's kind of a tight fit, but once you get that, there it is. It fits in there quite nicely. And you're also going to want to get one of these 1x3 plates and apply that right there as well. And then get another one of these and put that right there. I believe that's where we want to put it. And then do the same thing to the other side with all the same plates in all the same places, just reversed or mirrored or what have you for the other side of this set. Once you're done pushing all those into place, we will move on to some of the next stuff that we have to do. Oh yeah, and you're going to want two of these 2x2s to go right in these corners as well. So just apply those, and this really closes up a lot of the gaps on here. There we go. So once you're done with that, it should look something like this. You have all of these plates just on there covering all those gaps, and that will be on both sides of this build so that there isn't that giant gap in the middle there, and that really closes up a lot of that space that looked kind of weird. So next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take out this piece right here. There's a little one of these lever pieces again, and this will be quite a challenging thing to take out. So what I would recommend doing is going in through the back if possible. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that will be possible because the whole thing is covered. So we have no way to get to this except for through the front. So with that said, let's try to take this whole thing out right here. There's not really any way, there's not really a good amount of space here, but I think that if we try hard enough, we should be able to get this thing out of here as well. But we can kind of pull this whole thing forward, which will give me a bit more space. So I don't know, I'd recommend doing that just to get the extra space and pull these off the sides temporarily. Unfortunately, it's going to be kind of hard to get this. Actually, we can probably take this whole thing off. Just temporarily remove this thing. Brick separator, come on. You know what? That's probably good enough to gain access to this thing. There we go. So now we should just have to wedge it in there and pull this whole thing out. There we go. This piece comes out now. You're going to also want to take the blue piece that comes out there, and you're going to want to flip it so that the bottom axle receiving end is on the bottom, like so. You can see the non-axle end's on the top and the axle end is down there. Push that back in. You're going to want to reassemble all that stuff we just took off, which I know is going to be really fun. So let's do that real quick. You're going to want to take this piece right here, and then just push this back on through there, and then push this piece back in, and just like that, and then put these back on here. There we go. And then push these back on. Hopefully. I'm hoping that this won't be too challenging to get on, because that would really suck, but come on. Okay. New idea. We will just take this off and then apply it and then push the axles back through on this piece, and I think that will work out much better. So that's how I'm going to try to do it now, and we'll see how well that works out. So all of those are back in. Reapply all the axles and stuff in here, and there we go. I just hit the bridge, so let me fix that real quick. But there you go. So now that piece is on the bottom, and now it's time for another very challenging piece to remove, which will be fun. I'm going to pull this assembly off this side to get this out, and it will probably be very fun to reapply, but it's going to make it easier to get this next piece out. So just take off this piece, and then you're going to want to get in there with your brick separator, hopefully, if there's enough room. Well, that's going to be a bit of a stretch, but you're going to want to take out this stickered piece right here. So once you've done that, you can place all this stuff back down, make sure that all the pieces go where they should, and you're going to want to take this 2x6 plate and just stick that right in the middle where that piece was. So press that on down in there. So now you have studs where that tile was, just right there, and it will work quite nicely. Then we'll put this piece back on the edge where we took it off from, and make sure that all of the plates that we put in go on top in there. And I know you guys can't see, but make sure that once you put this back in, that it still looks like this when it did earlier. Because if you have those plates going under, you're not going to have the best time ever. And now I'm realizing something that's a big mistake, but should be able to pull this piece out rather easily now. Come on. No. I'm not doing this again. No, we need to get access to that lever piece again. And unfortunately for me, that's not going to work out very well. So we will just change up what we need. Take this piece out, throw it away. You don't want it anymore because it's bad. And we will take a 3-long axle, just a regular one of those, and we'll stick this right in the end of this piece, like that. And then just slide this whole thing right in there. And it will want to be applied to the studs, which you're going to want to do, but make sure this whole assembly gets in there. It's rather a tight fit, unfortunately, but with enough pressure it should go in, which, you know, that's probably not the best method here, but I'm going to take out some of the pieces that would go in there, and we'll just apply the middle section first. So push the middle of this piece in. That's not going in. This is being a lot harder than it was the first time. So what we're going to do is we're just going to push this piece in like that, and then this piece should... Now we've lost the axle. Okay, well, it was a good attempt. I'm going to try to figure out where that went. Okay, I can see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to move the axle out. We're going to try something different. Yeah, this is actually how trying to come up with these things work, is you just try a bunch of stuff until something works. I'm going to try a 5-long axle with stop, which I pulled out of my parts bin. It looks a little something like this. So that should fit, and now it should allow us to put all this stuff on. Just right there, and then all the other stuff we took off should go right there and there. And I know there's a lot of improv in this, but and I'm kind of sorry, but I'm also kind of not, because that's the process, really, is just trying to improvise what will fit in the model. You know, you could overhaul the whole thing, which is what we're doing with some of the stuff, and you kind of have to rip up some stuff to put some stuff in as well. But you know, this is a lot more fun, I guess. There we go. Make sure all this stuff goes back. Push everything back in. We don't want to lose anything. And then just push the axle right back in. It should be sticking out a bit in the back here. You can see that it's sticking out a bit right there. and then it should be interlocking with the brick with the axle hole in there, right on that side like it is. So now we have a bit more Technic stability. There you go, and that's what we did. And there's this 1x4 brick which goes right in that hole in between all the stuff. So that was fun, and now I'm going to get back to the main stuff we were doing in here. So let's get back to that. So we have the main sort of middle section of the bridge in the back as well now. What you're going to want to do next is you're going to want to take all of these Exoforce robot arm pieces, and you're going to want to stick these right in these axle holes, and not axle holes, the pin holes back here. And what these will be are going to be our gun holders. So we'll stick all these in. They should all go in no problem, but if they have a problem, just, I don't know. I didn't have a problem. I don't think you will either, but you know, that's not the first time in this video that we would have a problem with something. There you go, now you have some gun holders. So say you got your Senate Commando, he's just chilling out there, he needs a place to put his gun, and boom, now he has a place for that. So there you go. Now we're going to finish what we started here. You're going to take this massive chunk of pieces and you're going to put it so that the larger end right here is towards the rest of the stuff we've already put in, or the back of the bridge. You're just going to want to kind of remove that piece just to get this in there, and then push it down and it should lock in quite nicely. And there you go. Now you have the rest of that part. And I guess we'll take a break really quickly to do some of the upper parts. You're going to want these pieces, both of them, just both of these. You're just going to place them right here so that the edges are in line with the edges of there. And then that will all work quite nicely. And then we have these pieces, which again you're just going to want to take out these pieces that are on there, and then you're just going to want to put these pieces kind of in their place so that kind of holds up the whole thing like so. So there you go. Those are those things. Now the whole thing is boarded in. Probably going to be harder for me to show you guys on the camera, which I don't know if that was a good decision yet, but we'll see. So now we'll kind of focus right here on this front section. As you can notice, there's quite a few Technic holes, so I've got just a few ways to fix a lot of those holes. So we'll start out with these pieces. You're going to want to take each one so that it fits into the appropriate hole like that, and you're going to want to do this to both sides. A lot of these pieces are mirrored so that they can go into both sides, and that's what you're going to want to do. So every one that I put on this side, put the opposite one if it needs to be mirrored on that side, so that this all works out. You're going to want to take these pieces, you're going to want to take a few of those and put them over where the hinges are that connect this to the rest of the ship. Do that for all of them. There we go. Beautiful. That all locks in there. And then you're going to want to take some of these and place them on these areas here. But before we do that, I'm actually going to do some of the interior stuff. So we're going to take this piece, put that right there, because a lot of the interior stuff is pretty much just the same as this, and for some reason that went in there and broke off, but it shouldn't. This should just be right on there. Force that in there so that it goes like that. And then you're going to want to take the printed or stickered piece from before, take two of these and kind of just do the same thing on the back so that it's like this, and then just apply it to the other side. You can choose which side you want the stickered piece on, or if you have another one of these sets or another one of that piece, you can do it on both sides. And that's what I would do, but unfortunately I only have one, so I have to choose a side, and that's the side I chose. So those pieces go in. You're also going to want to take both of these pieces and put them in on either side like this. That didn't work super well, but you guys get the idea. It just goes in like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Really just getting rid of a lot of the Technic holes and stuff. You're also going to want to take two of these and place them right here and right here where we took the other blue ones out earlier. You're going to want to take two of these tiles and place them so that the outsides go on the outsides of those pins we just put in. so then you kind of have that window pattern. Looks, hopefully I'll be able to show you guys, looks a little something like that, so that's what you want. And you're also going to want to do something very similar with the other two of those tiles, which are the black 1x3s that already have these pieces in the back of them. You're going to want to put them like this so that they lean into those as well, and take the other ones of these pins and put them right there so that it forces them to stay. Do that on both sides so that you kind of have some of that window action going on from the bridge. Not the best, but it does work. So there we go. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to take quite a few more of these pieces and then just put two of them on each side, up there and up there, and once again up there and up there, like so, so that it all goes in quite nicely like that. And then you're going to want to take two more of each of these and try to put those in. So I think that we'll do some slight changes. Take these ones and move them so they're like this, because I'm doing this a bit differently this time. Oh well, just mirror it so that it's a little bit different on each side, and then just put those in. It should snap into place just like all the other ones have so far, and just do the same on the opposite side. Hopefully you won't have any problems, and then you're just going to take the other two of these. These ones don't need to be changed because the bottom two holes I left open again, but the other ones were a bit weird. So those just need to get pushed in there as well on both sides. And then you should have four of these left. You're just going to take two, put them in the front here on each side. Boom and boom, and then just do the same on the other two with the other side. So now you shouldn't really have a whole lot of those technic holes showing, and they should mostly be covered over. So almost done. We just have a few more pieces to put in, and those are all going to be here in the middle. So again, I will do this side that you can see on the camera, but do both sides. So what you're going to want to do is you have two of these control panels which have just these pieces shoved into the bottoms of them. You're going to want to take each of those and put them so that they kind of come down like that, and put one of those on each side. Doesn't really matter which. I've chosen this one to go on this side. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take one of these pieces that rotates a little bit. I'm just going to want to put that right next to where that bar piece comes out. Not the one with anything on the bottom, just the one that rotates. Put that there. And now what you can do is you can take your clone pilot and you can use him to test out the seats so that he can sit there, or he can sit right over here, and then he can work on his control panel. And then for these next two, you're going to want to have the one with the stud that's on the right side of the piece go onto this side, and the stud that's on the left side go on that side. So there you go. And I just want, what I have done is I have made it so that the one with the buttons and the one with the screen, one of those is on each side, but you can obviously do it however you want to do it. But once you put those in like that, they should snap into place. And sometimes they're a little finicky, but that should be the least of our worries now in this video with some of the things we've had to finick and mess around with. And then you're going to take each one of these with the open corner that's elevated, and you're going to want to put that so that the elevated, so the side where there's no studs kind of goes right there, so that it goes on top of the filled in areas. And then you should be able to, once again, not as much movement, but these aren't supposed to be spinny chairs, so that you can kind of just get in there and see what's going on. So that's what it should look like now that you've done all that. And that's actually all the pieces that we have available for this mod that I have told you guys to get, even though some of them we threw back, but that's not important. So also we can take our Senate Commandos if for some reason we want them in here, and we can, you know, stand them up, have them be looking outside, you know, doing whatever, put their guns on the gun racks, all that fun, and we can just have them be hanging out on the bridge and just doing whatever they want. So last thing we need to do, remember how we took this piece off? We need to put it back on, which is done quite simply. Again, just make sure that these pieces are open, put them right back on there so that the red lines up with these other two red ones that are down there. They should be right above it. But if for some reason they're not, then make sure they are. And then just push each one of those back in like so. And now the mod should be finished. Yeah, so now that's how I've done it. That's how I've decided to modify this set. Let me know what you guys think of this mod down in the comments section below. You know, let me know if you think I did a good job or if you think that I did a poor job. I know the tutorial wasn't the best, but I think that the mod overall was, in my opinion, accomplished what I wanted it to accomplish, and I'm very happy with it. So, once again, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.